Okay, everybody, today's topic is chapter 8. We're looking at the graph of y equals x squared. I want you to study that picture, and then we'll discuss further. Okay, so we're going to try to graph quadratic functions, which is what that equation is called if it's a degree of 2. So let's go ahead and get into this. Here's the steps that we're going to take to be able to create one of these graphs. And for your homework assignment, you'll actually be doing this on the ALEKS program. But for right now, we're going to graph these by hand. So get your graph paper, and let's go ahead and try to create the graph of the parent function y equals x squared. So here we go. All right, so we're going to make a graph of y equals x squared. Now, I want you to understand something. This is the format. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So in this case, you'll see that these terms at the end, there are no values for b and c. So you can think of them as zeros. That'll be important when we do some calculations. So what will this graph look like? Well, let's go through these steps. Okay, step number 1. Find the axis of symmetry. Look at that equation. X equals negative b over 2a. All right, let's try that. X equals negative b over 2a. All right, well, here's the value of b. So it's negative 0 or just 0 over 2 times a. A is 1. So that would be 0 over 2, which is 0, right? 0 divided by 2 is 0. So that is the axis of symmetry. So that is an imaginary line that is going to go, it's a vertical line, x equals 0, right down the middle, or the y-axis. So the parabola that we draw will be symmetric with respect to that imaginary line, called the axis. Some people call it the line of symmetry. Okay, next step. Find the vertex. Now the vertex, if we look back at this picture, notice right here, it is on the line of symmetry. So what we do is we actually start creating a table of values. So we're going to put in some x numbers. We're going to use our function, which is x squared, to calculate the values. And then we'll return some domain values. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So this first number is 0. That's the line of symmetry. So if we substitute that into this function, we get an answer of 0. So that's the ordered pair 0, 0. Let's go ahead and graph it. All right, so that is actually the vertex. So you might even want to label that to remember that. Okay, let's see what else we've got going on. Find 2 more ordered pairs. Choose x numbers close to the axis of symmetry. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with another number. Now what I'm doing is I want to stay pretty darn close to the line of symmetry when I choose these x numbers. So I think I'm going to choose the number 1. I'm going to put that into my function, and I notice I get the ordered pair 1, 1. So I'm going to graph that. Okay, so we got to remember how we graph points. Right 1, up 1. Boom. Now the direction said to try to choose another one. How about I choose the number 2? Calculate it. and I get the ordered pair 2, 4. So now I want to graph 2, 4. Right 2, up 4. Now, right here it says find the fourth and fifth points, because we have 3 points on there already, by using the axis of symmetry. Aha. So, if I look at this carefully, this point right here would have an identical point right across from it. Same thing goes for this point up here. Now you actually have the graph made. Now let's look back at the picture of what it should look like. You see that? It should be like a U-shaped graph traveling through those points. So right now I want you to go ahead and draw in with some arrows. U-shaped graph. And you just drew a parabola. Congratulations. Now let's go ahead and try some more. Okay, so we'll keep those directions up there for us. All right, let me give you a different one. How about y equals 2x squared this time? Okay, now remember, this conforms to this formula, but once again, we don't have a value for b, so it's 0, and we don't have a value for c, so it is 0 as well. It won't always be like that, but for this case, in this case, it is. Let's go ahead and go through our steps. All right, find the axis of symmetry. X equals negative b over 2a is the formula. Negative b, now b is 0 once again, so negative 0 is the same thing as 0, times a is 2, so that's 0 divided by 4, or 0. The axis of symmetry is the line x equals 0. Looks like the one we did before, right? So that means this parabola will be symmetric on both sides with that. Find the vertex. All right, so now we want to set up a table of values. Put my function in here. All right, everybody. So the first number we're going to use is 0, because this is going to give us the vertex. So this will be 2 times 0 squared. Well, that's just going to be 0. So that's the ordered point 0, 0, and that's the vertex. Let's go ahead and graph it. There it is. Now what do we do next? Find 2 more ordered pairs and choose x numbers close to the line of symmetry. I think we'll go with the ones we used before. How about 1? 2 times 1 squared. Well, 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. So that's the ordered pair 1, 2. Let's go ahead and graph that. 1, 2. All right. Choose another number. How about the number 2? All right. Well, 2 squared is 4 times 2 is 8. That'd be the ordered pair 2, 8. Let's go ahead and graph 2, 8. 2, 8. Lastly, find the fourth and fifth points by using the axis of symmetry. So there should be a point on the opposite side of the line there, and on the opposite side of this dotted line over here. Now go ahead and draw your curve in here. Remember to make it a U. Try to not make it look like a V. It's actually a U shape. You got that one done. So we're graphing parabolas. All right, let's try another one. Let's make this one different. Why don't we try this? Y equals negative x squared. Okay, now let's remember this is of the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. That means there's no b, No C, and A is actually -1, isn't it? So that's important to note. So let's go ahead and go through our steps. First step, find the axis of symmetry. X equals -b over 2a. B is 0, so it's -0 or just 0, over 2 times a, which is -1. So that's 0 divided by -2, which is 0. So once again, we have a line of symmetry. And there's a reason for this, the way these equations look. That's right there at x equals 0. Now, it won't always be like that. So you got to be prepared for that. Let's make a table of values. And see if we can find our vertex and get a couple more points. All right. First of all, the vertex. Put a 0 in here. So it'll be -1 times 0 squared. So that would be 0. 0, 0 is the vertex. Put a couple more points in here that are close. How about we put a 1 in there? So 1 squared is 1 times -1 is -1. 1, -1. Okay, now you gotta be careful. Some of these are negatives. So it's actually down there, isn't it? Let's put a 2 in here. So 2 squared is 4 times -1 is -4. So it's 2 -4 is an ordered pair. 2, and then you drop down 4 points. And then lastly, what we do is we reflect these points. So there's got to be 1 here and 1 there. Go ahead and draw your parabola. And you notice this one's upside down. Do you know why it's upside down? Yeah, it's because that -1 that's out in front is forcing it upside down. Okay, let's try another one. Oh, let's make something else up. How about this? Y equals 1/2 x squared. No. What do you think is going to happen with this? So just keeping in mind what these things look like, actually. So this one, once again, has no value for B or C, but A, we can see what that is. Let's get our line of symmetry. Okay, now B is 0, right? So it's 0 over 2 times A. A is 1/2. So that's 0 over 2 times 1/2 is 1. It's 0 again. Not always going to be that way. But your line of symmetry is x equals 0. All right, let's go ahead and calculate. Get some points. First things first, line of symmetry goes in for x and becomes the vertex. So that's going to be 0 times half, or 0. So that's 0, 0 is the vertex. So we seem to be seeing that over and over again, don't we? All right, let's pick some more points. Now, you could pick the number 1 if you want to, but it's going to be really hard to calculate with. I'm going to pick the number 2. Now you'll see why, because it's going to be 1/2 times 2 squared. Well, 2 squared is 4, and taking half of 4 is pretty easy. That's 2. So you kind of got to be smart about the way you pick your points. Pick numbers that you're going to be able to take half of. How about 4? So 4 squared is 16, and half of 16 is 8. So that'd be 4/8. See what I'm talking about now? That's easier. Now, if you pick an odd number, You have a really hard time graphing that. Let's go ahead and reflect some points on the other side of the line of symmetry. So this will be 2 over there. That one's 4 on that side. Or like that. Now let's go ahead and draw this in. So can you compare this to the other graphs? What's different about it? Yeah, it's a little bit wider, isn't it? Definitely a little bit wider. No doubt about it. Okay. Well, let's try another one. Let's see if we got another one left over. We don't. Okay, so that's going to be it. Let's go ahead and call that the lesson for today.